Alright, what's going on out there? It's the Franchise guy. Back at it again this week with Volume 8 with another EP of Welcome to the Franchise. Back with another volume to get some of my takes after catching up with some of the latest in the NFL. Week 11 wrapping up. A lot of good shit to get into from this recent week, from what I was able to catch up on. So, I was able to get into that so far, even with a little bit of what's being said out there, even with some things off the field. So I want to get into it with Volume 8. And with that being said, let me get started and get straight to the shit. Alright. So what I want to start off with is the biggest game of the week with the Chiefs and the Bills. This shit right here, as we all know, is one of our favorite non-divisional rivalry games because we know they're going to put on a hell of a show for us. Like, they're going to do that for us as the fans, as the viewers, as, true football fans out there, true sports fans out there. They're gonna give us what we came to see. This shit right here is always fun to watch, and it's definitely an all eyes on deck event. Trust that. But yeah, all the main characters. It's gonna be Allen versus Mahomes, Andy Reid versus McDermott, Joe Brady versus Spagnuolo. Two efficient offenses that move the chains and keep shit in motion, and two good defenses with some stars and some playmakers on the end that, they gonna get involved. They gonna mix it up. They gonna make their plays. So this was definitely, the biggest game of the week, as everybody, would know from years before. A lot of those battles in the playoffs and even in the regular season, or seeing each other two times. This is some must-see shit right here. What I really liked about this matchup the most, from what I was able to see, is that straight from the jump, you could see that this was gonna be a good back and forth battle. But also, you could tell whoever made, the first big defensive play was most likely gonna win this game. That's the vibes that this kind of game was hitting for. Playoff type vibes for sure too. But the Bills got that first pick off Mahomes, by guess who? By guess who I brought up their name before? Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp really been going crazy once he got back from his injury, playing out of his mind, making plays in the passing game, making big hits in the passing game, making big tackles, and now, if I'm not mistaken, he got back-to-back games now with a pick. So the ball is on. He's on fire right now. Taylor Rapp is on fire right now. So that's good to see. Safeties like that making plays. I like to see that because it seems like in more recent years, it's like they put handcuffs on the safeties. Nobody want to hit anymore because they're gonna get fined. And not just that, I like to see playmakers on defense go for the ball. You know what I mean? Because you could flip the field, try to take it back for a touchdown, a good field position, get your offense in position to score. You know what I mean? So I'm one of them people. I like to see that from the defensive back end. But they don't even want to do that shit no more. They ain't want to make a play on the ball no more. Not just because of whatever, a hard hit and you get a flag, but you getting a flag on a pass interference if you fucking sneeze on these niggas. If you fucking, you know what I mean, look at them wrong while the ball's in the air. So I get all that, but Taylor Rapp, it's good to see a safety like that who want to make plays on the ball, but could also make tackles, could also make big clean hits, and he could get the ball in his hands. You know what I mean? Getting those insoles. But even still, with that play, of course, the Chiefs were able to bounce back and keep shit rolling. Like, yeah, all right, niggas. Y'all got that one off right quick in the first quarter, but watch this shit, because y'all niggas know what's coming. Y'all know what's coming next, And, the Chiefs came back in the second quarter and they got their shit in motion smoothly, Now also, the Bills they were still doing their thing too on offense. They scored their 10 points in the second quarter. The Chiefs, they scored 14 in the second quarter. So, it was a good little back and forth, and the Bills is just like, yeah, niggas, we know what's up too. We can keep up with y'all niggas. Y'all know that's all nice and everything like that, but calm down. Like, calm down before y'all start feeling yourselves a little bit too much. Because, you seeing how we handling business also and everything like that. What I really did like that I seen from both offenses also is they spread the ball around, like all around to all their playmakers out there. And, that's from both of the offenses out there that I was able to see. It's good to see offenses like that where they're not just dependent on one main person or one main playmaker. Although there may be drives like that. I mean, the Chiefs had a whole drive basically, credited to the young bull, Worthy, on screens and rushes. I think there was a long pass or a run after the catch and everything. And he scored a touchdown all in this one drive. You like to see shit like that. And, of course, the Chiefs, Andy Reid and them, Patrick Mahomes, and they going to get their playmakers involved. You know what I mean? They going to make sure they get the ball into their offensive weapons' hands and stuff, especially if they got speed and they can make people miss. And, you know what I'm saying, niggas is lateral, got the juke moves and shit, or they got the agility. Niggas got the agility on the edge. And that's what you seen on that drive with some of them plays with Worthy. But also the play design of all them plays was like too wavy. Like, it was good. Everything in motion, everything upfield for execution on both offenses. The Bills too. The Bills had Amari going off a little bit, going upfield with one-handers and, big play completions in the offense. That shit was lit to see. I mean, they finally broke that man Amari out of jail, playing for the bum-ass Browns, where his career was dying slowly because he was still putting up some numbers. But the bum-ass Browns, where his career was dying slowly, and then the bum-ass Cowboys, to me, it seemed, if you ask me, it seemed like they played him because he was doing numbers and doing his thing. He was a good route runner, a solid, short hand you could depend on in big games, for the most part with the Cowboys, but they traded him away to the Browns for his career to die, which was fucked up. But now they done low-key free this nigga out of jail. He playing meaningful football now because, he could still get busy with it out there. Like, he could still get niggas work on the outside. But yeah, for real, like I was saying, both offenses spread the ball around all game. And that's some shit you love to see as a football fan, like offense-wise. You seen for the Bills, James Cook, he gonna do his numbers. He gonna do his thing with 2 punches. He had that. I feel like he could get two tutties every other game. He definitely gonna get a punch every game. He gonna punch that shit in for a score every game. Khalil Shakir getting his shit going, and he got his slot machine on him. He got his slot machine game on him. Got his racks on him. You know what I'm saying? Getting his shit off. So he got the rack game and slot machine game where he killed niggas for a couple routes and shit, moving the chains for some big first downs. So that's good to see. Mac Hollins. He gonna get his first down on a couple snacks, couple first down snacks, first down catches and everything. He gonna get busy a little bit, which Mac Hollins is a name that, for right now, it's just going around how crazy he is off the field, his caveman shit, and he ain't taking elevators, he don't wear shoes, he don't eat vegetables, all that crazy shit mainly. But, if you really peep game the last couple of years, he kind of been like showing off now instead of his early years in the league where he was mainly just playing special teams or just a big body out there. He's showing off he could play a little bit of receiver, a good little reserve role. Even last year when he was in Atlanta, you seen a couple of highlights like, yo, who the fuck is number 13 just popping out? Like, out of nowhere. No, I think maybe he was number 11 on. Nah, he wasn't number 11. They wouldn't give him Julio jersey. The fuck out of here. But, you seen this nigga with this crazy hair in Atlanta popping out, making some catches or making some plays. They may not have been meaningful games last year for Atlanta, but he was popping out doing some shit. And now you seen him with the Bills. I feel like he has at least 2 to 3 catches for at least 30 yards and maybe a touchdown out of nowhere now, like every other game or so. So you see that shit, you see him in motion and shit. The tight ends even got, they got involved and got theirs. You're going to see Dawson Knox get at least 15 to 20 yard, catch a game. Not as many catches as he used to get back in the day because there's more options now for Josh Allen to spread it around. But he had a catch there. Probably Dalton Kincaid getting involved. And then you even got the backup running backs. Ray Davis, the rookie that looked like he 40. And then then you got Ty Johnson. I think he had a big run to move the chains or like a 7-yard run to get a first down. He got involved. So, shit like that is good to see when you see, offenses like that in motion. Like, it's a real offense where everyone's getting involved for both the Bills and same for KC. The Chiefs got Noah Gray getting, he got a couple of his snacks in there with a few catches. I mean, Juju got a screen pass. Like damn, that nigga still play. Like that nigga still play, and it was for positive gains. Even Hendershot got involved as a waiver wire nigga. I think they got him off the waiver wire or some shit. And he was getting involved. He had a couple catches and everything, so they were spreading it around in the offense. So you could have just keyed on one person. And of course, D Hop, he still had to make his plays with a couple crazy catches, how he do. And even Kareem Hunt, he had a big run for a first down. And just everybody getting involved on the offense on both sides. That's what really popped out to me a lot in watching this game and seeing what was going on. So that shit is just really fun to see. It's a beautiful thing to see for someone like me, for a nigga like me watching football. Like, this the real fantasy football, if you want to say it like that. Because you love to see offenses really move around and actually execute and make some fun plays and shit. But also, it wasn't just all about the offenses. I mean, both defenses are respected. Good solid defenses, well coached and everything. Both coordinators, McDermott has always had a big influence on the Bills defense throughout the years with him coming over as a defensive coordinator. Spagnuolo, he always gonna have whatever team he coaching on or he a part of, he gonna have their defensive unit running right, and he's open to switch up from the 3-4 to a 4-3 to now a new, these new evolved defenses now that you have to play to match up with these offenses, with orbit motion, and niggas is always in the shotgun, or it's always 3 or 4 receivers now as the standard formation, so Spagnuolo is going to have them right. So, the defenses also made some great plays out there too, where they both got in toes, on both elite quarterbacks. And to me, from what I was seeing in this game with those plays, it just shows that niggas know they got to make plays on these niggas. They know they got to make plays on these elite quarterbacks to stay competitive throughout the whole game or to win the game. They know they got to make these plays on them. Whether it's a play on the ball or they got to make a key tackle for a run after the catch. Don't let them get a 3rd and long. If you were able to push them back on a penalty for 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20, don't let them run and catch on you, or don't let anything over your head. Play the ball, try and get the ball, try and force a strip, make that key tackle. It showed that niggas is hungry to make plays, because nigga, Mahomes, I seen out there too. Mahomes was getting sacked up out there today too. So on the Bills defensive side, they were pressing the pocket, they were getting after it, they were really hunting to try and, neutralize Mahomes. They know they couldn't completely stop him, hence how the game was so close almost all the way to the end, or how it still kept going back and forth. And they know they're not going to completely stop him, but it's like, yo, we got to make plays on this nigga. We got to keep hunting after this nigga. We got to keep hunting after everybody so we could just try and neutralize him and slow him down. and give our offense a chance to keep making plays. And the Chiefs defense also made plays. Made some key stops on Allen too, who he gonna try and rag it up himself on the ground and run all over through niggas and all the jump over niggas and all that shit. They also had an interception on him too. It was on a fourth down. It looked like a bad pick, but Connor made the play. It looked like Knox didn't. I think it was Knox, the tight end. One of the tight ends didn't continue running their route, but Connor made a good play. He said, "Fuck that, I gotta go after the ball." I think they was kind of in their own territory, but it may have been close to like the 40, 50. But he said, "Fuck that, like I'm gonna go for the ball." It's fourth down, and he got some yardage, and it made it closer and easier for the offense to score. And that's what you got to do on defense, especially in a defensive backfield. With QBs like this who want to sling it around, and they're gonna look for opportunities and openings to throw the ball for a first down or a touchdown. You gotta let them niggas know, hey, I'm making a play on the ball. I know you want to sling it all over the place out here, but I'm making plays on the ball. So, keep throwing that shit. It's after a few attempts, it's bound to be a pick, and I'm gonna take it the other way so I can help my offense score. So they made their couple plays, but for the Chiefs defense, when it came down to it in the end, they couldn't make enough stops because that nigga Josh Allen did it again and said, "Yo, fuck all this shit. I'm putting this shit on my back." And y'all niggas ain't stopping shit. Y'all niggas ain't stopping nothing. Took that shit straight to the house on 4th and 2 and told them niggas, "Fuck out of here. Good night." Ended the game, ended that game with that one again. Running it in the end zone, taking it upon himself, throwing it on his shoulders. And, listen, he knows from throughout his whole career, basically, he basically only got to he got to get through Mahomes. So he knows that in a close one, when it comes down to it, I don't want to fucking go to OT, or I don't want to go down on a wire and leave it up to a field goal. Our field goal kicker got to make some. If he miss it, or even if he make it, Mahomes come down and score. He know that shit time and time again. Fuck that shit. We got to end this shit and tell these niggas fuck out of here and good night one time. And I'm not doing that on some, do what you're supposed to do and kick the field goal, take the points in your defense. Nah, fuck that. He said, no. You have to put these niggas away and score a touchdown. And I think that the dope thing about seeing Josh Allen right now this year and his growth and seeing how he's approaching every game, not just, the game against KC, but he approaches every game because he's preparing himself for the real big game against KC, is that you're seeing the way he's playing the game, and his mentality is that I got to keep my foot on the fucking Tigers' neck, or I got to put them away. You know what I mean? You can't leave it up to chance and out of your control anymore, or leave it up to a field goal or something close and tight with a coin flip for OT, or OT and a referee call. I can't do that no more. The only way to really let niggas know you're not fucking around, you're like, nah, I definitively need this win, is I gotta go for 6. I gotta go 4-on-4. If I gotta run it myself and run a few linebackers and safeties and niggas over to get my punch, that's what the fuck I'm gonna do to win this game. Cause I know this nigga. I know they not gonna give it. I know they're going to let him do his thing in OT, or let him do his thing in the last 3 or 4 minutes or whatever and all this shit. And he's like, nah, fuck that. Fuck all that shit. I'm going to score and put this shit on my back. You know what I mean? So that's another time he's done that this season. You know what I mean? And you got to have that mentality. So, big win for Buffalo. As it is almost about that time for that final stretch of the season, for how the playoffs are going to shape up. You got to have that mentality. And shout out to their defense once more again, where in the last play where it looked like, Mahomes in there, he got that Mahomes magic. KC, they had magic all year. They undefeated. They winning on field goal blocks at the buzzer and shit. And they seen this story before. It's a lot of players on there that have been with this team and been on this roster for a minute. And they seen this story before. So when they trying to mount their little comeback in the end, to still maybe force OT or keep it a game, and you seen Mahomes roll out, and the nigga knew, like, yo, he's looking for Kelsey. He's gonna look for Kelsey. And Kelsey was on a deep over when Mahomes was scrambling around, and it was good because the nigga Terry Bernard lurked it. He lurked it. It was good because he didn't show hands. He didn't show that he was really even paying attention to coverage. It looked like how he made the play. The ball was a little bit underthrown, but how many times have niggas seen Mahomes and Kelsey do that shit time and time again in a crunch time situation and shit? And the nigga Terry Bernard lurked it, took that intel, lurked it, and that's how you got to play and put them away and seal it. So I hope they know that. You know what I mean, going forward, because like I said, you got that final stretch now to see how the playoffs is really going to shape up. And, while it was a great win and it, may appear or be perceived as a statement when beating the undefeated Chiefs that you have a rivalry with, they know. They know more than likely they're probably going to have to see them niggas again. And they know they're going to have to keep that same energy and come back on that type of time again. They know that shit. So, good win for the Bills. Shout out to Josh Allen once again, playing like a dog. Look like he having an MVP season. He might take it this year. So, we'll see about that. Now, let me get into this Ravens and Steelers shit. Right. So, caught up with the highlights for the full game as, I was only able to catch the end of the game in real time. So I caught up with the highlights on this one. All I gotta say right now to start it off is, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? Like, this was a game that, I thought that Lamar and the Ravens should have had, more of a balanced game plan, being able to run the ball. Yeah, that's what they do. Even with the Steelers having a great defense and all, they needed to show like a bit of a new approach by trying to air them out on offense in the passing game. Or just trying to use multiple options, like different options in the pass game and spread them out a bit, because I think that how good the Steelers defense is and everything, they know, and these motherfuckers know each other. They know that the Ravens and Lamar, especially with Derrick Henry now, they know that they want to run the ball. They know they're going to run the ball. They know they can execute that. So they know, like, this is what we got to stop. Not saying it's the only thing to stop. I'm not saying that. But they know what the Ravens want to do. Like, okay, this nigga want to run. And if he pass, he want to run around and pass. And we know the options he want to go to. Mark Andrews, Justice Hill, and Zay Flowers. After that, the other guys, which is not that many other guys that they're going to keep trying out there, who Bateman, Aguilar, they're like, we'll let them get off and everything like that as long as we don't let them score or let the main players get off and do that crazy shit. Because the Steelers defense always been a great defense. They're always well coached. They're always sound. And they're going to smack you up too. So, I thought that they should have probably came into this game with a balanced game plan. Like, yeah, still run the ball with Derrick, still run the ball with Lamar, but also just throwing a slight little different wrinkle to the offense and trying, like, spread them out a little bit. And even if you can't air them out, because they actually do, they play good pass defense and everything on the corners and in the safety in the middle of the field. But, like, trying to spread them out with some different options out there. Tylan Waller's been having some good games this year, some good games on a 2-catch game or a 1-catch game. Put him out there as a little wrinkle sometimes and, switch it up like that with the receivers. And maybe if you can't air them out, just spread them out and had Lamar just dink and dunk a little bit, then balance it with the run, and then, that's what that's what I was thinking. You will probably have to do with a game plan like that against the Steelers defense. But of course, they weren't able to do that too much with the pressure from the Steelers front line, and it looked like Lamar was seeing reads late or doing like a double take sometimes on his reads and not letting it go or throwing it away when he should have. Maybe the receivers weren't getting open with the separation, or the Steelers coverage scheme was just, really on point and confusing niggas. So, the Steelers was definitely giving them that work on that and on defense. So, I give them props for that. They probably had the DBs out there plastering or, doing some different drop zones and everything like that. But it definitely was showing Lamar holding the ball and looking like he was doing a double take on his reads sometimes from what I was able to catch. But, shout out to the Steelers defense. Like, it was fucking wild. It was wild because I believe, if I remember correctly, in the opening drive or early in the game, they even forced Derrick Henry to fumble in the game, which I don't think ever fucking happens. Like, I don't think that ever happens. The last time it's happened, it's been a really long time when he was on the Titans. So that shit was crazy. He still made his punch, in the game for the score in the second quarter. But then throughout the whole game, the Ravens offense really couldn't convert no first downs at all. But on the flip side, on the other side, it was like that too for the Steelers offense. They didn't really convert any third downs like that either. So this was a classic Steelers Ravens game, which you still love to see. It's still entertaining as a fan. Sometimes the defenses we just spoke about a little bit, the Chiefs and the Bills, where it was a lot of offense, a lot of things going on, so that's fun to see. But it's good to see a good defensive struggle also. Sometimes a good defensive game planning and scheming against each other also. And with this game, it was a classic. There was some big hits. It was getting smacked out there. It was getting smacked out. Some big hits, some big tackles, some big stops, some hard runs. Good hard runs and everything. Crazy turnovers and shit, aggressive play, and we also love to see that as real football fans. We love to see that shit. So it was a great matchup, of course, as it's always gonna be between these two teams because they know each other so well. A lot of hate, a lot of bad blood, but you can see with this, for right now, with these two regimes right now, you can still also see between the players and everything, there's also a high level of respect, for both sides and everything. But it still gets nasty. Niggas still getting knocked out, getting hit hard, and a lot of aggressive play, which you like to see. But yeah, the Ravens look like they weren't ready. Because the Steelers said, fuck all that shit y'all niggas been doing. We bringing defense out here today. And y'all gonna get fucked up today. Like I was saying, niggas getting hit. Ain't no 30-plus games today. No 30 pieces today. That's what the Steelers defense said. So I also peeped out that there was another fumble forced. I believe it was by Patrick Queen, the former Ravens first-round pick, I believe, right? And he popped the ball loose, and I think he recovered that shit. Too. So Patrick Queen, you could just see him flashing all over the screen. He was all over the field making plays and making calls and making big hits and key tackles. And I just want to say this right quick. I'm going to say this right quick, right? The Ravens low-key fucked up not paying that man and letting him slip to the Steelers of all teams. Now, I understand I'm not all behind the scenes or all down to the nitty gritty, crunching the calculator and shit. That's for all them other niggas you want to listen to on YouTube and all that shit. They could go over that shit, them fucking accountants and shit. You know what I'm saying? With their corny ass voices and shit. Go hop to them about that. But I know business is business. I know they paid Roquan, I think the year before, a big deal, so maybe they didn't have enough in the bank to shell out to him also. Or maybe he was like, yo, that ain't enough for what I want or what I feel I'm worth here. And the Ravens was like, hey, it's business, my nigga. You ain't worth as much as you think. We already paid Roe, and we got the other young boy, Trent Simpson, coming up, which is fine. That's business and that's football. I understand that. But even still, real low-key. I know some niggas might not concede yet, just yet, right now. But while Trent Simpson has been solid as a starter so far and can have potential to be really good, you know what I mean? Low-key. I'm still on my low-key here. Real low-key. It ain't even all about him. Right? Because he's a solid starter right now, this, that. But he was in the tuck last year. And now he's a starter now. Right? It ain't even all about him. That's why I say low-key and real low-key. Roquan Smith, while he's still a high-level backer in this league, right? He might have lost a slight little step in his pass coverage. He ain't quite like how he was from his Chicago days and when he first got to Beemore, right? Peep how, and what also is a part of the Ravens' pass defense problems. You know what I'm saying? You can see it. You can see it in this game. It was a few plays right up the seam and in the middle of the field for the Steelers offense, where it was wide open or they was letting the niggas run through, or, you know, and that's just what I was seeing of people with my eye. For others out there, fine, whatever. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that Roquan is losing it as lost it. He's still a high-level back in this league. He's still fun to watch, one of my favorite linebackers to watch in the league and shit still. Because he could tackle, he could hit, he talk shit. You know what I mean? He line niggas up, he make his calls, he try to make the adjustments. Right? And like I said, while Trent Simpson, first year being a full-time starter, you know, he's a young boy. I believe he was a rookie last year, right? You know, reserve maybe, didn't play or whatever. You had Queen in there doing his thing. While Trent Simpson has been solid so far. You know what I mean? Average about 6 to 8 tackles a game, or 6 to 7 for sure. 6 tackles solid for sure most games. Solid. He has the potential where he can really be great, you know, or really be good, right? Got Roquan there. You had Patrick Queen there. Patrick Queen was that nigga when he was there in Beemore that was making them plays in the pass game. And the key tackles, bringing that energy. Also setting shit off with Rowe in the middle that you see looking, you know what I'm saying? It's just looking a tad bit leaky this season on defense with the pass defense for the Ravens, especially also in the middle of the field, you know, in this game. You know, and Patrick Queen put on his show today. And he knew it and he meant it, that like, nah, I'm gonna show these niggas what the fuck they missed out. Not missed out on, but I'm gonna show these niggas what the fuck. Like, what? Oh, I bet. You know, and that's one of the all-season things that I really couldn't believe, but I get it. You paid Lamar, you paid Rowe, you know what I'm saying? You gave a little bag to, I think, Bateman. You know what I'm saying? You got to load up and give a bag to maybe Zay Flowers, or maybe extend Stanley again or something like that, whatever. Like I said, I'm not an accountant and pay attention to all these contracts and stuff, but I have a little idea of it, right? And I know business is business. But if you did have a chance to keep him financial-wise, You know what I'm saying? Kind of fucked up by letting him slip. But like I said, business is business. So, you know, him slipping to the Steelers, though, gotta hurt because you know what I'm saying? He showed out. He did his fucking thing in this game here, you know? But on the other side of that, going on with the game, you know, the Steelers offense had shit in motion too, with some good plays on the outside. The G Pickens, I mean, he gonna go off every week now. I feel like every week he gonna have his 8 catches. He definitely gonna have his 80 yards, or a long play. You know what I mean? He definitely moves the chains. That's the dude who's gonna get all his snacks, and he gonna move the chains all the time and make them crazy catches and tough catches, contested catches. He a big body, it's got a good radius, so he gonna make them plays. A couple big catches from the tight end, Darnell Washington, also was one of them guys who caught a big one up the seam as well. I believe he had a touchdown too, but I may be wrong there. But he did have a couple of big catches. Both running backs, Warren and Najee, was running real hard. Getting some good gains on the ground, and was, giving the Ravens work. Also, not just on the ground, but they was giving them work in the receiving game. Also, I think both of them had like 4 catches out of the backfield, which that's what you like to see. That's balanced offense right there. Both of them niggas ran the ball. Both of them niggas got involved in the passing game. And you got your main receiver and backup tight end, starting tight end, involved in the game. You know what I mean? And you was still able to go deep and pass it around. That's the game for both teams, really, how this matchup is. And it's always tough defensively. That's kind of the game plan mindset that you kind of had to have in it. It looked like the Steelers executed it enough. I wouldn't say all the way, because they ain't score a fucking touchdown. That's the real shit. That's fucking crazy. And with that being said, before I get into that real quick, shout out to Marlon Humphrey, who's still picking up his game week by week now. He had that interception in the end zone off of Russ, trying to get it to Washington. He picked that shit off. Russ threw that lollipop pass and shit. How you miss a 6'7" tight end and shit on a lollipop pass is crazy. But shout out to Marlon Humphrey, really going for it. He really hunting for it, like trying to make the play, stripping the ball, making key tackles, and getting interceptions. And he got that pick to keep them out the end zone, while I believe they was up 15-10 at this point, and like the late third or something like that. And he's like, fuck that, we gotta keep these niggas out the fucking end zone so we could keep my nigga Lamar in there to have a shot. But the shit that's crazy, back to what I was saying, is the real difference in the game was the fucking field goal kicking. The Steelers squeaked out this dub without scoring any fucking touchdowns. All field goals. All fucking field goals they scored. Right? They won on all fucking field goals. And the Ravens, a.k.a. most accurate kicker in history, yeah, all right, nigga. Justin Tucker washed ash. He losing. He losing it, yo. He's on his way to being washed. Cause this ain't the first game, but this nigga missed 2 fucking field goals. 2 field goals in this game, like. And in a game like this, everybody knows you gotta make your field goals when it comes to like a Steelers-Ravens matchup, because it's gonna be tight. Niggas is playing in the box, in the phone booth. Niggas is hitting. They ain't always gonna be no 30-yard bombs or even a 20-yard bomb. Like, you in the phone booth, you in the box. It's straight hitting and in between the tackles, and even if there is a passing game, like, niggas is gonna get rocked over the middle by the safety, or that even if it's open, the corner's gonna play aggressive and tough, try and rip the ball out, all type of shit. But yeah, this nigga missed 2 fucking field goals. Now, mind you, the Ravens did all they had to do to come back and win this fucking game. Even with key drop passes from wide open receivers, Zay Flowers, and getting ripped on a great throw for getting the ball ripped on a great throw. Justice Hill for an interception for the Steelers defense. But they still did what they had to do to come back in this game and win it, right? But the stupid ass fucking play call for the 2-point conversion was also what fucked up this chance for at least an OTW. Nigga, what? Roll out to the left? To the left with Lamar? That's number one. That's what he fucked up there. But still, they expecting some shit like that. Just a rollout run to one side or the other. Especially Lamar's left. Like, what? In that area of the field where it's condensed, rolling out to Lamar's left, no bueno. Rolling out to Lamar's left, well, yeah, your own 30 and everything like that, yeah, of course, that shit could even break for a big touchdown or a big gain. It's definitely gonna be at least 7 to 10 yards. But what for 2, nigga? What? Roll out to the left? All right, as just a run play. To win not to win the game, to tie the game so you can force it to OT to win. They expecting some shit like that. Nigga, misdirection that shit with an RPO, roll out to the right or some shit, slip out the TE with Ricard or Likely or Mark Andrews and throw that shit for 2 for the score. That's what I thought they was gonna do. I thought they was gonna do something like that, like RPO to the backup running back, or Henry to really throw him well out. These niggas really just gonna punch it in with Henry. Let Lamar roll out and someone slip out on a delay from the tight end position on the other side, or be sitting in the back of the end zone. I seen them do it on regular scores this year. Great play call. But they like, nah, let's roll him out to the left or let's just run it in. The fuck kind of shit is that, man? Yeah, nah, that ain't the play. That ain't it, my nigga. That ain't it. But in the end, great win by the Steelers. I mean, they iced it with strong execution, bringing in Justin Fields to run it out for the first down, which, why the fuck would you not see that coming as the Ravens defense and set the fucking edge to the outside and fill the alley with the, you know what I'm saying, fill the alley with the safeties on that play? I don't know, but hey, fuck it. Good shit. Good shit by Mike Tomlin and Steelers, you know? Them niggas look like they know what they doing when it comes to this football shit, for real. But obviously, it's the Steelers. They got a history of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Of course. So, you know, good win by them. Overall, good game to see and everything. So, a lot of things the Ravens still need to tighten up, and it ain't going to get easier as they play the Chargers next week, who they're coming off their big win against their division rival Bengals, who the Ravens beat twice by the skin of their teeth. But, you know, the Chargers, they ain't no fucking game either. So it's going to be the Harbaugh Brother Bowl over here, and it ain't going to get easier. So they got some things they got to tighten up, especially on defense. Maybe tighten up a little bit more on offense and throw in a little wrinkle, some shit down the line for this playoff stretch, and we'll see. Now let me take a little turn to the NFC real quick with a few games. Seattle and San Fran. There you go again, that wild NFC West, boy. There you go again. I for sure thought that San Fran had this one in a tight, weird one, though, as usually this is how they play each other and everything. But that San Fran, should have, was supposed to be taking care of business in this. But Seattle flipped it on us. Geno came through on his comeback shit like he usually do at this part of the season. For some reason, it's like whenever it's this part of the season and it's like the Seahawks is 5-5 or 4-5 or 3-5 or 5-4 or 6-5, some shit like that. That part of the season, Geno want to come out of nowhere and be on this comeback shit. Like, hold up, nigga, I ain't finished yet. You know what I mean? Came through and stole that fucking dub. The Niners now are back in a very, familiar vibe, a familiar situation where key players are getting hurt. They hanging around that 500 area. And now they got to thug it out wild crazy to get into the playoffs. So it's kind of familiar. You see this like every other year. It feels like the Niners have a year where they go like 14-2 or 12-5 or 12-4, some crazy shit like that. And then the year after, everyone's hurt. They're like 500 most of the time, losing games they're supposed to win and shit. And then limp into the playoffs at like 10-6 or like 10-7 or 11-5 or whatever it was back in the day. It's like on and off, where they have these kind of years. And this is one of those years it's looking like. Which I wish I was actually recording and putting out shit from earlier in the summer, because I did call this shit, but you know what, fuck that. I don't want to be that guy. So motherfuckers would be like, oh yeah, of course you say you call that shit. You didn't even say this shit out there, record nothing, da-da-da-da. So I actually skipped that shit out the way. But, now they got to thug it out wild crazy to get into the playoffs. And the good thing about this for them is they have the muscle memory with the continuity of this roster to pull it off and make that playoff run. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing. This roster has been with each other for a long time now, and the coaching staff for the most part. So they got the muscle memory to be like, all right, niggas, we know what we got to do for like the last 10 weeks or whatever weeks is left for shit, right? You know what I'm saying? We know what we got to do for this last little final stretch, right? And also getting healthy helps. But the bad thing is, the muscle of the roster is starting to get hurt, like Joey Bosa and shit. And, hopefully Kittle doesn't get hurt again. And, hopefully Christian McCaffrey starts getting back to himself a little bit more, even though he had a decent game. And Debo is not hurt, and he actually starts producing and really getting back to himself, because he's dealt with a little bit of health issues this year, But they're gonna figure it the fuck out though. They gonna figure that shit out. Shanahan and them, they gonna figure that shit the fuck out. In Seattle, they're gonna do what they've been doing the last 3 to 4 seasons. This is a nice little winning shit. It's cool. Nice little comeback. Gino basically at the buzzer did his thing, stole that win. But them niggas can't really finish. And Arizona could still be a problem for them, even though they're suspect on defense. But it's the Wild Wild West. They're always a fucking problem. For some reason, out of nowhere, to all of these teams. And the Rams, too. They could also be a fucking problem for them. You know what I mean? So the thing with Seattle, they got to finish. Even if they do squeak into the playoffs, same story. They got to finish. And they do it. It feels like they've been doing the same shit for the last 3 or 4 seasons, where this is around the time when they want to start being like, we really got to focus. Let me stop playing. Like, I got, we really got to get on point here so we can make it down the stretch, and still hanging around 500 and stuff. But then they don't finish in the end of the season. Or if they squeak it to the playoffs, they don't finish and they get bumped in the first round. And same thing, the Rams and Arizona can also be a problem for the Niners too. So, but the thing is, you trust a team more like the Niners because they have that muscle memory, like I said, with that continuity of that roster, that they could pull this shit off. And the Rams, they could be a problem in squeaking the playoffs too, but they got a lot of players that get hurt. Stafford is getting hurt a lot more now. Whatever running back is there, seems like they get hurt or miss 3 games and then should be all off, and then both of the receivers get hurt. You know what I mean? Puka and Cooper Kupp, as nice as they are, they're really, really good when they're available. And I'm not saying that's going to stop their motion, because they still have proved this season and the season before that without Puka or Cooper, they can still produce and shit, because McVay and them coaches out there know how to get shit right on the offense and defense. But now let me go ahead real quick and get into this Bears-Packers game, which was a crazy game. when I caught the highlights also, the Bears ain't look too bad. I mean, Caleb Williams, he ran around a little bit. I mean, the defense made some plays. But, the Packers still made their plays on offense too. Anybody who really thought seriously that the Bears could make a playoff push was bugging, to be honest with you. They're not well coached enough, and the other three teams in their division are real functioning organizations. You know what I mean? Like, they really are efficient about their shit. They've been like that for years. As far as, I'll say, the Packers and Minnesota for years more recently. Detroit, we know this historical story, but more recently, let's throw that in there. They're real functional organizations trying to get shit going and keep shit going in the right direction. Whether they win, lose in the playoffs, they was going to be in the playoffs more recently, right? And how they're trying to function to win. But the Packers did still win this one by the skin of their teeth, winning on a last-second field goal block. On a last-second field goal block at the buzzer, which is wild, which is crazy. But the way that they've been winning their games with all the injuries early in the season and how they've been, how they've been coached, I'm talking about main injuries to, Jordan Love. I think Christian Watson is usually always injured. I think Jaden Reed missed a couple games, and Christian Watson, Jaden Reed had good games. Christian Watson had a really good game, especially in that second half with a few big catches. Big catches for first downs or to move the chains and get a lot of yardage. He had a great game. Jaden Reed had a touchdown in the game. But with the way they've been coached, where Willis had to be in at quarterback a couple times and everything, and Love getting injured, this is a surefire playoff team that could get smoking hot at the right fucking time down the stretch. And especially if they're fully healthy. If they get fully healthy at that time, which is how they was doing shit. It seems like the season that they having right now is similar to the season they were having last year, where it was like, oh, we don't know if Jordan Love could play. We don't know nothing about him. Oh, he looks bad because he had all them years sitting on the bench and you don't really know shit about him. You heard all these stories and shit about training camp and preseason. He's looking shitty. And the first 8 games of the season, he was looking up and down, not looking great. Then he got hurt, I think, a little bit. Then he came back in them last 8 to 10 games or some shit like that. Niggas the whole Packers team just started going fucking crazy. And then niggas didn't see that shit coming when they blew the shit out of they blew out the fucking Cowboys in the first round and started making shit interesting in the rest of the games throughout the playoffs with their team. So like I said, this is a team that could get smoking hot at the right time down the stretch, especially when fully healthy. So, they're a surefire playoff team that could really fuck niggas up. And with that, that brings me to the leader of the whole pack and the top fucking dog of that whole division, which is the Lions. 52-6, belt to ass whooping to the crumb bum ass Jaguars, which was just like a walkthrough practice with crash dummies for them. They're a team that is now looking more consistently to the odds now as a team of complete dominance, just straight domination in every game on both sides now. Like, we gonna bum rush the fuck out of whoever the fuck we play. Nigga, we not fucking around. We don't give a fuck. And they show that they got big fight in them too with the comeback win on the Texans. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I was talking that shit in the first couple episodes and everything. We all know who the real niggas in charge is once the playoffs start, and it's the Niners. I was talking like that, but it might really fuck around and for real be the Lions. So I really can't fucking wait to see when the playoffs start, and these motherfuckers better get their ass to the fucking Super Bowl. better. They got to. The way that they moving right now, and I get it. It's a couple blowout wins against a couple teams, a couple games where it kind of didn't really matter or whatever. But to me, you still got to pay attention to, like I said, the big fight they showed with that comeback win against the Texans, who are a playoff team. They may not be an elite playoff team just yet in their growth and coming up as a team with a new head coach and new quarterback. But it's something to look into when you're starting quarterback, those 5 picks, and everybody's mental is still like, fuck that, we still in this, we gonna win this shit. And some of the weaker opponents they blown out, okay, may not look as impressive and everything. But, they better get their ass to the fucking Super Bowl. I mean, at least back in the conference championship game, at the least, easily. So yeah, besides Goff having that 5 interception game, playing like an MVP, doesn't miss on a completion. Sonic and Knuckles out there going crazy every game. It seems that every game they both got a touchdown or 2 touchdowns each. A.R. St. Brown is Slot Machine Green, Teeter Machine Green, Rack Machine Green. He's always doing his numbers on all levels. He's green all day. And then the safety duo, Branch and Joseph. I mean, Kirby Joseph gets a pick damn near every fucking game now, and that's 2 seasons running now. So you love to see that. That's good to see. And this team is a fucking problem right now. So it's up for them for sure when they're in the playoffs. It should be. It better be. So I can't wait to see it. But for now, I'm gonna wrap up here for volume 8. I'll be working to come back and follow up with another EP soon with all the shit that's been going on with the bum ass Jets and what's happening there. Since everybody want to talk about this shit, I could break that shit down. How stupid all the clown shit going on there. And I'm gonna catch up a little bit more with some NBA stuff and some more NFL as well when I'm able to get to it. Catch up with it. So for now, that'll wrap it up for Welcome to the Franchise, Volume 8. Doing this shit like I really be doing this shit for TV, you heard? Alright, it's the Franchise guy. Y'all be easy out there.